YouTube. Welcome. Yes, this is the 19th Element going live on YouTube, Facebook, and Zoom. Thanks for joining us. Here we go.
Facebook. We back again. The 19th Element, California Radio. World going crazier. World on fire. World at war. We have Dr. Alim back at it again with your world news.
Okay.
Welcome, Dr. Alim.
Thank you, Sister Amira. And welcome, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, one and all. Well, Merry Christmas to those who follow the Orthodox calendar. I think yesterday was the first day of the 12 days of Christmas as they celebrated in the Orthodox Christian world. So Merry Christmas to those who follow the Orthodox faith. And Happy Hanukkah for those who are finishing up those celebrations. And of course, we're now in the first week of the new year. So Happy New Year. I think this is the first show of the 19th Element in the year 2026. Last week was New Year's Eve, and now we have completed 1 week. And what a week it has been. And so prepare yourself. We're going to be all over the place tonight. There's so many things taking place. It's hard to know where to start. So let's just start where we are. Let's start at the beginning and prepare ourselves for a world that has gone wild and crazy. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the book, How to Eat to Live, one of the characteristics of the people, he said, in the end times would be they would be going berserk. He called them berserkers. Now they turned that, I think, into a video game called Berserker or something like that. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the first one to ever use that word. I had to look it up. What's a berserker? I don't think we have to look far today to find out who the berserkers are. The berserkers who are on the loose, the lunatics who are running wild in our world, driving the world crazy, driving the world towards war. So let's go with our images. We have quite a few. Sister Amira, let's bring them up, and I'm going to make commentary as we go. Some of them are political, some of them are economic, some of them have to do with basic survival issues. Some of them might even be considered spiritual. I don't know. But there's a lot going on, and we're going to try to cover as many bases as we can this evening. So thanks for being with us. Please push the share button. Subscribe if you're on us with YouTube. I went over 1,000 subscribers last week. Let's go to 2,000. What's wrong with that? If you just invite 2 or 3 friends, how many people did you invite to the show tonight? Yeah, how many guests did you bring? It's Wednesday. Back in the day, this would be Wednesday night mosque meeting. Somebody would meet you at the door. Where are your guests? So I'm meeting you at the door. Where are your guests? So, you know, the place should be overflowing with the information that we give out. Where are you going to get it anywhere else? So that's our first image there. Can you blow that up? Because when I started paying attention, if you can't blow it up, I thought it could be bigger. But that's Oil Can Harry. Some of you are too young to remember some of the original cartoon characters. And along with Daddy Warbucks, used to see cartoon characters in newspapers. Daddy Warbucks, who was the warmonger, and then along with Daddy Warbucks, you had this guy, Oil Can Harry. So the international bankers and the oil monopolies, they were in league, and they were considered to be the villains of the world. Yeah, I remember Oil Can Harry used to be on television saying things like, if you don't give me the keys to your ranch, I'll tie you on the railroad tracks. As a matter of fact, the great singing group from the 50s, the Coasters, they actually made a song that featured Oil Can Harry, tying people to the railroad tracks, doing terrible things, torturing people, bribing people, trying to take over people's land, to steal the oil, to steal the resources. Yeah, Oil Can Harry. So if that resembles anybody that's living today, it's not by accident. Next image, please. These kinds of people have been around for a long time. Next image, please. Yeah, there's Oil Can Harry. Yeah, Oil Can Harry. A slickster, double talker, liar, criminal, deceiver, fraudster, counterfeiter, pirate, gangster, thug. Every bad thing that you could think of is exemplified in this character, Oil Can Harry. Next image, please. Maybe you're getting the picture. Maybe you are. As to what we're dealing with. We're dealing with Oil Can Harry. They brought him back in real life.
Hold on. Oh, okay.
There he is, see? The trickster. See, this reminds me of Donald Trump, really.
Right?
I've talked on that. Look up the word Trump. Look up the word Trumpism. Trumpism is a lie, a fib, a prevarication, a misrepresentation of the truth. You know, like the used car salesman. The person who will say and do anything, you know, just to get ahead, you know? And of course, he's broke, busted, and can't be trusted now. So what do you think he's up to? Next image, please. The shale oil business is busted. Oh, I didn't know I included this. But of course, this is what we're striving for. And I'm working on my website, dralim.com. It's not ready yet. But we're trying to bring the hereafter in right now. Hereafter right now. How about that? Where you won't need medicine, you won't need any drugs. And so keep tuned or stay tuned. We're almost there. And so we'll be offering a alternative healthcare plan called Abundant Life Healthcare Plan. And you'll sign up for 12 months at a time. And it's a 9-step program to perfect health. So I'll be talking about it from now on because that's the big thing with me right now. Next image. So this is these are the ingredients of the hereafter. Your wealth, your health, and your ability to survive. Unlimited survival. In order to do that, you need the right food. You need to be alive. That's what health is. But life is one thing, but life more abundantly is another. And so if you want the fulfillment of that part of the promise, then that's what we're talking about. Now, if you want to preserve your wealth, as this world goes bust, then you better have in your hands, gold and silver coins and bars that are still available. And of course, that gold coin there is the one that we minted ourselves. Brother Daniel out there in the West Coast, he minted gold and silver coins with the image of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on it. Next image, please. So that was a good idea then. We should do that again. Now, I commented last night that Europe is down to basic survival. For the most part, large parts of Europe are literally in the dark. While you and I you got our electric lights on, we're watching our electronic screens, you know, our homes are warm, we can cook our food, we can sleep in warm beds still. The tap water comes on, it's hot. Not in Europe. If you're in Europe, you're trying to figure out, do we need to start burning the furniture yet? Is it that bad? It's like the day after tomorrow. We need to burn the furniture. No heat, no gas, no light. So no wonder Volkswagen had to go bankrupt. Mercedes-Benz shutting down. All of the European industries idle. No gas, no oil, no power. See, that's what power is. See that kind of gas and oil, you think of it as, well, that's just a commodity. No, that's power. When you don't have any, you don't have any power. That's been a long-standing issue in Africa. They need more power, more electrical power, then they can do more. Next image, please. Europe is in a dark age now. Americans are waking up to the fact, although I don't know why they should have been asleep in the first place, to find out that the president that they voted for is not the president that they got. When has that ever been the case? You name me a president that you voted for and the president that you got was the same one that you voted for. When has that ever happened? And yet people act like they're surprised. Trump lied to us. He ran on a platform of peace and started 8 wars and expects to get the Nobel Prize in spite of that. See, he should have been smart like Obama. Get the Nobel Prize first, then you start the wars. Next image, please. Now they hide the fact that Trump is literally the first Jewish president. He converted to Judaism in 2017. He's a part of the Chabad Lubavitcher sect in Flatbush, Brooklyn. And they followed the spiritual leadership of the Reeb, along with Bibi Netanyahu. That's what Bibi Netanyahu is. He's a disciple of the Reeb. So that's why they do things in a similar manner, because they have the same spiritual leader with the same spiritual objective, which is, of course, the establishment of greater Israel, which is an agenda of conquest. You have to conquer other nations to make that come true. And that means war, right? You got to fight everybody. Now, I showed this slide last week, too, because I was mentioning the fact that $7 trillion of America's sovereign debt was going to hit Scott Bessent's desk the day after Christmas, and it did. And Scott Bessent did not have the $3 trillion. And so that means by December the 27th last year, America defaulted on $3 trillion of its sovereign debt. And that's bad news for sovereign debt holders, people who hold U.S. treasuries. That's the first time in history that America ever defaulted on its sovereign debt. They were always able to manage a bailout until now. So now you see the desperation that is with Trump and his administration. They missed a payment. It's like you when you miss your rent payment, when you late on your car note. Hey, that's a time for desperation. You have to do something. So they did. Next image, please. They did. Oh, that's just a close-up of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gold coin. We had a plan that if we could get the believers to purchase gold coins, that would be a way to guarantee the safety of their wealth, with inflation being what it was. Now, I don't remember exactly, but back in the day, probably gold was selling for like $700, $800 an ounce. And now it's like $4,000 plus an ounce. So it would have gained 600% in value, had that program been implemented on a wide basis. Now, again, there was nothing stopping individuals on their own from doing exactly that, and many people did. They bought gold and silver, and been buying gold and silver, and they're sitting pretty now because gold, as I said, is over $4,000 an ounce, climbing higher every day. Silver, if you can find any, it's said to be over $89. But if you really want some, and you have to go to Shanghai to get it, and they tell me they're selling silver in Shanghai for $150, $160 an ounce. See, so that would have been a good investment. It's still a good investment. So buy any gold, silver, coin that you can at any price. It's always a good investment. Next image. Don't be fooled. The increase in value of silver and gold is just a measure in reverse of the fall in value of the dollar. It just means you need more dollars to buy the same thing. Look at your grocery bill, and you'll see that I'm right. Anything that's real compared to the dollar costs more dollars because the dollar's not real. Next image, please. So this used to be called the Gulf of Mexico. Now it's been renamed the Gulf of America. And somebody made a joke and said the Gulf of no one has been arrested yet. Well, I guess they have to change that unless they don't mean kidnapping. Next image, please. So we all know what happened. On Christmas Day, they bombed Nigeria. That's what happened. They bombed Sokoto, the Muslim area. As a matter of fact, it's the key Muslim area. This is where, let's see, how far back in history would you go to find Uthman Dan Fodio? Uthman Dan Fodio. This is where Uthman Dan Fodio established the 7 independent kingdoms. And Sokoto was one of them. And we visited here and visited some of the other kingdoms there. This is where they did the Durbar for Minister Farrakhan with all of the horses in this part of Nigeria. And so this was a strike on Muslims, said to be in defense of Christians on Christmas Day. Think about that. On Christmas Day, our Savior is bombed. I thought on Christmas Day our Savior was born. Instead, he got bombed. Next image, please. Now, again, the Zionist agenda is an agenda of conquest of the Middle East. Take over all of the Middle East. Establish what they call Greater Israel. Well, what do you think the American agenda is? It's a Zionist agenda, same agenda, an agenda of conquest. So you see there at the Arctic Circle going around there, and you can see if you were on top of the world looking down, that's what it would look like. And there's Greenland inside mostly of the Arctic Circle. And of course, that Arctic area, if you look to the right there, hey, that's almost the entire border of Russia. So when Trump says that the Russians are prowling around in the Arctic, well, I guess so. That's where they live. That's their coastline. And now they've opened up trade routes, through the Arctic Sea, so that a lot of the trade that used to move through the Suez Canal and other routes now is going through the Arctic Sea. And Trump is saying we have to go to Greenland to put a stop to it because Russia is patrolling her own borders. And of course, if you think about it, from the other side of it, if Trump makes a military move to take over Greenland, which actually technically belongs to Denmark, so that would be Trump attacking a NATO ally, invoking Article 5. So now Germany has to attack America, France has to attack America, England has to attack America to defend Greenland. We live in a world of confusion. But suppose America does establish a military base and NATO establishes a military base on Greenland. Can't you see that would be an attack on Russia from the north? That's how Russia would see that. Oh, these people getting ready to attack us from the north. They came at us from the south on the flank through Ukraine and they didn't get us. So now they want to come over the top. That's how Russia would see it. Next image, please. And what gives Trump the right to take over Greenland anyhow? So now this is Scott Ritter. I actually met him. He's a very astute commentator all over YouTube. A lot of people interview him because he's an independent thinker, military background, intelligence background. He was a bombs inspector. He knows all about nuclear bombs and stuff. And he said from the looks of it, and this was partly my prediction for 2026 too, that Europe will disappear. Europe's in a vanishing stage. When you got Europeans sitting around toasting marshmallows, if they can get any, over a campfire, and that used to be the dining room table yesterday, that's on fire. They're getting ready to go back to the cave days. Next image, please. Scott Ritter might be onto something. See, now this is Ibrahim Traore, and he's I guess I think this is official. I don't know. I don't know the background on this, but if he's not Africa's Person of the Year, I don't know who would be other than him. Who else would it be? And so my hat's off to him. He's actually putting together or reconstituting the Mali Empire. The Mali Empire was great 500 years ago. And then something happened, the accidents of history. And now, you know, men and women of history, they make things happen. So he's reconstituting what used to be known as one of the richest empires in the world. Well, 500 years ago, Mali was the richest empire in the world. That's where Mansa Musa came from. So they were richer than Europe by far. The only competitor that Mali might have had 500 years ago would have been China. Next image, please. Europe wasn't even on the map. Now, South Africa, which is the other great power in Africa, is objecting to the fact that Israel and the United States are invading and bombing Somalia. Do you know that Donald Trump has bombed Somalia, the nation of Somalia, over 100 times since he took office, in less than a year? He's bombing Somalia almost on a daily basis, destroying Somalia. You don't hear about it, just like you don't hear about the civil war, so-called civil war in Sudan, started by, what's her name, Victoria Nuland from the State Department. She started the war in Ukraine. Then she went to the Sudan, got them fighting. Now, Trump is trying to start something in Somalia against the Somalians, or the Somalis, and South Africa is calling them on it. And what they're trying to do is cause a separation or division, civil war in Somalia. And there's a part of Somalia that's called Somaliland. So now they want to recognize Somaliland as an independent country, and that's where they plan to transport the Palestinians. We'll send them to Somaliland. Next image, please. But Africa's waking up. You can't just do that. See, now this is what happened when America defaulted on the sovereign debt on the 27th of December. So China saw it coming. So they already had issued a warning that as of January the 1st, no more silver will be available coming out of China. Most of the silver in the world is in China. Look at that, 60% of global silver is in China. And the rest of it is distributed throughout the world. And so when America defaulted on the sovereign debt, well, that was a signal to the Chinese, hey, we better hold on to real wealth, which is silver. I know we have U.S. Treasury bonds, and it's supposed to be worth something, but these people just defaulted on their sovereign debt. So not only did they dump all of the, not all, but as many Treasury bonds, some of that $3 trillion that they defaulted on was owed to the Chinese. Probably most of it was owed to the Chinese. And the Chinese say, you can't pay me? And yet you want me to ship silver to your big tech companies so they can manufacture computers, so they can manufacture solar panels, so you can manufacture electric vehicles, so you can manufacture missiles that you say you're going to shoot at us? So on the January the 1st, China said no more silver is going out of China to anybody. We're going to hold on to all of it. Next image, please. Just like they did with the lithium and the rare earths. Say, we control that, not you. So now when the kidnap of Maduro, Nicolas Maduro Moro, see, they like to leave the last part of his name out. His last name is Moro. That means he's a Moor. This man is a Moor. Nicolas Maduro Moro. That means he's a Moor. So this is a part of the ancient Moorish kingdom that people talk about. I don't know too much about it. I'm not the one to talk too much about it. But you see, there's a hidden history behind the official narrative. The official narrative is always a lie. And hidden under that official narrative is the true history. What's the true history of the Moors? I mean, how far did the Moorish kingdom go? We just looked at the Mali Empire, didn't know much about that. How much do we know about the Moorish kingdom? And the Moorish rulers, not just in Morocco, but the Moorish rulers in the Western Hemisphere, despite the so-called Monroe Doctrine. So Nicolas Maduro Moro is a Moor. Next image, please. And the Venezuelan people are Moorish people. Now, I just put this image here because I was wondering, see, this is the Prime Minister of Barbados, and she got the trident of Poseidon behind her. Is that part of their flag? I suppose it is. This is like the flag, the Nazi flag they have in Ukraine. I mean, I'm just surprised to see it. This is some kind of a symbolism. Next image, please. Whose side are they on? I mean, somebody tell me. I don't know. I'm really asking. I don't know. Now, of course, a major escalation is taking place in the Middle East. Bibi Netanyahu and Trump got together at Mar-a-Lago, and they decided on the next phase of the plan to destroy Iran. That's part of the reason why Venezuelan oil had to be seized. Not that they have control of it. Who said they had control of Venezuela's oil? Venezuela is still exporting oil. They have an escort across the Pacific by the Chinese. The Chinese still getting their oil. And then going across the Atlantic, you got Russian submarines escorting the tankers. So Trump may announce it's a blockade. What blockade? In his head is a blockade, because he's a blockhead. But he and Bibi, being blockheads, being criminals, being insane, being berserkers, if you will, they're planning a major escalation against Iran because it didn't work the first time. See, Trump's obliteration of Iran didn't turn out to be an obliteration. He's just a big liar. But anyhow, they're going to try it again. And what that's going to cause, though, of course, is an oil shortage. When Iran, they say if they obliterate Iran, like they say, then that cuts off about 25% of the oil supply to the world. Because along the way, Saudi Arabia is going to be destroyed. The United Arab Emirates is going to be destroyed because they all produce oil. And Iran's going to fight back. It's going to be a bloody fight. And when it's all over, no more oil coming from that part of the world. So if they can control Venezuela, then they can say, hey, we can ship you oil from Venezuela, and we can light up Europe again, and we can safeguard Israel, and we can even make a deal with the Chinese. So that's what the escalation's all about, but part of it is you have to really control the Venezuelan oil. Next image, please. And when you know it, at the same time they did kidnap Nicolas Maduro, you see there on the bottom? They don't complete it. They were also trying to kidnap the supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. And guess what the third one was? At the same time that they got Maduro, they were trying to kidnap Captain Traore in Africa. And guess what? They were trying to kidnap Putin at the same time. See, decapitate the leadership of the entire world. Next image, please. Yeah, they were after Putin. They were after Traore. They're after everybody. They might be after you. Might be after me. Next image, please. We live in an age of assassination. I showed this last night on the Your Immunity Project. You better be careful where you go. This is Wegmans, but it's not just Wegmans. You go in the food market to buy some food, and they are taking biometric data on you from your eyes, your voice, and your face. So if you go in there, you better cover your eyes, better not say nothing, and better cover your face. But if you do that, they'll probably shoot you because they'll accuse you of being a robber. Next image, please. So some places you just can't go anymore. Now, wouldn't that be a delight for sore eyes? Wouldn't that be a delight for sore eyes? If they arrested Trump. Suppose Trump got arrested by somebody. I mean, if China arrested Trump, what would America do? I mean, how many Americans would feel bad about that? And say, you better send him back to us. You better send him back. You better release him. But I bet there would be some people in the streets. I bet they would. They would be demand the release of Donald Trump. And suppose the Chinese said no. But again, would that really happen? Next image, please. He is a wanted criminal. He has violated international law. He's broken every law in the book. He's killed people in cold-blooded high seas. He's shown he has no respect for anybody's law. He kidnaps people, so why couldn't somebody kidnap him? Now that's the president of South Korea, Lee Jae-myung, and of course, he's supposed to be angry with his brother to the north. But there he is down there meeting with Xi Jinping, the head of China. And China said, look, you need to give up your Apple device. You need to give up your Western devices. They're all bugged by Israel. They can even make them explode on you, boy. They're spying on you every minute of the day. They're recording every word you say. They see everything that you do. And they can explode them if they want to on you, boy. Don't you see what they did in Lebanon? So Xi Jinping says, why don't you take one of these phones? This is from a company called Xiaomi. And that's a big, huge company, man. They make some tremendous electronic devices. You should see the virtual reality glasses that they have. I mean, they're absolutely incredible. But you can't get them. Why? Because of the tariff. See, China wants to sell you some of that stuff. China wants to sell you a phone that they can't spy on you with. But Trump won't let them. That's why he put up the tariff barriers. Next image, please. And yeah, so Merry Christmas to all of the Orthodox Christians. This is the patriarch of the Roman Orthodox Church, Patriarch Cyril. So they're celebrating right now. See, and so since they're celebrating the birth of Jesus in Russia, what can you expect? What can you and I expect? An attack. An attack. See? They're celebrating. They got their eyes on their faith and belief in Jesus. And meanwhile, the enemy's plotting. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're going to see more and more attacks. And plus, of course, in Ukraine, they outlawed the Christian church. Do you know it's against the law to practice Orthodox Christianity in Ukraine? His counterpart in Ukraine is in jail right now. They put him in jail for practicing religion, for practicing Orthodox Christianity. And if you're just a common, ordinary Orthodox Christian in Ukraine, you better not let the Nazis find out. They'll literally crucify you. They'll literally nail you to a cross and set it on fire. And when I saw that, I said, that's just like the Ku Klux Klan. These people just like the Ku Klux Klan. So anyhow, this is the archbishop of the whole thing in Russia. And they're safeguarding some of the sacred Muslim manuscripts that had to be safeguarded during times of war. And the Muslims couldn't find any safer place to safeguard some of their manuscripts other than in Mother Russia. And of course, the great scholar of Hadith, of course, Bukhari was a Russian. You see, so about maybe 20% of the Russian people, are Muslims, but the majority practice Orthodox Christianity. And it's more authentic to the real religion of Christianity, as would be recognizable by Christ himself, than anything that you find in the Western church, the Catholic Church or the Protestant churches. I mean, look at Western Christianity and compare it to that. Do you have anybody in Western Christianity like this? Next image, please. No, you don't. You don't. Now here's another fantasy scene. Is this going to come true in 2026? Are you going to see Bibi Netanyahu in handcuffs? Will he be under arrest or will he be kidnapped? Next image, please. Is that too much to ask for? See, that's Vladimir Putin. He's laughing. He said, "You thought I was at my residence when you tried to kill me, didn't you? You know, I was somewhere else." Next image, please. So again, these are gangster buddies, Confederates in arms, Bibi and Trump, Gog and Magog. People say Bibi's manipulating Trump. Well, yeah, I can prove it just as clearly the other way. Trump is manipulating Bibi. They're on the same team. They are the same team. They're one and the same. American policy is Zionist policy. Zionist policy is American policy. What's the difference? You see, so from Gaza to Venezuela, the U.S. has been unmasked as the serial villain, the source of all trouble in the world. And now the world is waking up to it. If there's trouble in Africa, who's at the root of it? America. If it's trouble in Korea, who's at the root of it? America. Who caused the division in Japan? America. If there's trouble in China and between China and Taiwan, who's at the root of it? America. Who created North and South Vietnam in a war? America. Who created Sudan and South Sudan? America. Divide and conquer, Gog and Magog's favorite trick. Next image, please. So I don't know why people get confused. I really don't. An old dog doesn't change his tricks. Look at this. Remember, Trump was threatening the Israelis. Said, "You better pardon," told the judge. Remember that? "You better pardon Bibi Netanyahu." Both him and his wife getting ready to go to prison on corruption charges. Both of them. They said Bibi Netanyahu, if he was convicted, he would probably get over 40 years in prison. And this was the judge that was trying the case. Look what happened to him. Look what happened to him because he didn't yield to Trump. Trump told him, "You better pardon him. You better pardon him." And the judge said, "No, we have laws in Israel. Some of us obey the law." And the judge overseeing Netanyahu's corruption case died in a car crash. So unfortunate. But accidents do happen, you know. They do happen. Next image. Accidents do happen. See, so that's what it's all about. America doesn't have any gold and Venezuela has plenty. Next image, please. It's just as simple as that. So now they kidnapped, see how the kidnap game works. See, now they kidnapped Maduro. He got all the gold and oil and silver. So now that's a ransom. See, all they have to do is sign. This is Oil Can Harry now. All you got to do is sign on the bottom line and give me the keys to your oil, give me the keys to your gold, give me the keys to your silver and all your natural resources, and you can get your president back. It's a ransom deal. But for many people, it's the dread day of want. They're hungry. There's millions of hungry people in America, not to mention Gaza and the West Bank and Africa and all over the world. And so who's going to come to the aid of the hungry people? I mean, I just told you the lights out in Europe. That means those people are suffering over there. Those people in Venezuela, they're suffering. Where all this mess is going on, people suffering down and out. You down and out. Barely can make it or can't make it. How many homeless people are there in America? Couldn't make it. Got full-time jobs, but homeless. Can't afford groceries. You tell me this is not the dread day of want. And so what's going to save you? Well, you better save yourself. The solution is here. Now, we're not going to talk too much about the divine solution of the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad tonight, but we do that every Sunday and Monday on a program with prayer and fasting, where we get into the deep spiritual details of the resurrection of the dead nation. That's what time it is. This is just an image that represents a dead nation that is in need of resurrection. So how is that brought about? Well, it better be quick. Next image, please, because we just about gone. Yeah, see, this is the symbol I was showing you that was on that flag from the lady. Where was that from? Not Trinidad, from wherever it was. But see, the trident of Poseidon, that's the devil's fork. So what's she doing with the devil's fork? I can understand the Nazis in Ukraine. And look at the flag. It represents blonde hair and blue eyes. What's the name of the leader of the Nazis over there? Originally was Stefan Bandera. He was working with Hitler back in Hitler's time. But the one that's in charge now, his name is Andrei Beletsky. Andrei Beletsky. So when they first started this war in Ukraine, he issued a proclamation to the white world. This is what he said. He said the war in Ukraine is the last rally of the white race against the subhumans. So this is the last rally of the white race against the subhumans. Well, who are the subhumans to the white race? Well, they consider the Russians to be subhumans. They consider anybody that's not white to be subhuman. So if you look at the war in Ukraine, you see it is a rally of the white race. Canada's all up in there, saluting Nazis. America's all up in there. England's all up in there. France, Germany, Hungary, all of them up in there. All the white race. They came even as far, they come from New Zealand to be up in there. They come from Australia to be up in there. South Africa to be up in there. White people from all over the world volunteering because it's the last rally of the white race in Ukraine. It's the end of the Aryan world. Just as Captain Traore is trying to reestablish the Mali Empire and the Chinese establishing the Chinese Empire, the Russians reestablishing the Chinese civilization, the Indians doing the same thing. But what do you think white people are doing? They're trying to reestablish the Aryan Empire called the Khazarian Empire. Right there in Ukraine. That's where it was. And they want to expand it to another war of conquest. Next image, please. So it's all about blonde hair and blue eyes and who's going to control the world. Is it going to be Gog and Magog and their lawlessness? Or is it going to be the people of righteousness? See, it's not about being Jewish or Christian or Muslim. No, are you actually following your prophet? See, what if Bibi, see, he says he's a Jew, but how many of God's commandments does he follow? How many does he break? I reported that Trump converted to Judaism. How many of the 10 commandments that Moses taught does he follow? I mean, everybody can see he doesn't follow any of them. And the Christian Zionists, same way. How many of the commandments of both Moses and Jesus do you follow? Even though you say you're a Christian and a Zionist or a Jew and a Zionist. I guess you could be a Muslim and a Zionist. They exist. But you don't follow any of the commandments of the prophets that you say you follow. Then you give a bad name to the Jews that actually do follow the law. There's Jews that follow the law. There's Christians that follow the law. I showed you one. There's Muslims that follow the law, but they don't get no credit from the devil. Next image, please. So they don't say love your neighbor as you love yourself. No, destroy your neighbors. Take them over. So everywhere there's war in the world, it's the Gog and Magog war. And who's behind it? These two villains. Next image, please. Can you think of any two people worse than them two? Now, this is what I was talking about before. We need an alternative health care plan, so here it is. A 9-point plan to perfect health. So it's coming soon. I'm not going to spend time on it tonight. I talked a little bit about it last night, and you'll hear more about it in the future. Next image. But your future health is up to you. It really depends on what you decide to do. If you depend on somebody else to do it for you, hey, I'm sorry, you're in trouble. Now, this should interest you, since they're deporting people left and right without due process, without hearings, without lawyers. And you know this is a lawless man. He does not respect the Constitution. He does not respect international law. He does not respect moral law. He does not respect you. And so now he's passing new passport rules, just like they did in Israel. You know, when things got real hot in Israel last year, when they had that 12-day war with Iran, they changed the passport rules in Israel so you couldn't leave. Most of those people in Israel are being held hostage. They would love to get out of there. Wouldn't you? You're in a hot spot, getting ready to be bombed into obliteration. So they changed the passport rules so the Jews in Israel can't leave. They thought they had the Palestinians locked up in Gaza. No, they locked themselves up. with new passport rules. Well, Trump being in league with Bibi Netanyahu, what do you think Bibi told him down there in Mar-a-Lago? You need some new passport rules. Because the things you're getting ready to do, fool, everybody's going to want to leave America. Everybody's going to be heading for the border. So you better lock down the country, just like they did with COVID-19. They got you used to being locked down. So now you're going to change the passport rules so you can't even leave. Next image, please. Now, I don't know the details of the new rules, but you can guess what they are. They might kidnap you at the airport, say, prove your citizenship. How many people could actually prove their citizenship to satisfy these thugs? He proved his citizenship. He said, I'm the president of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Get your hands off me. That didn't do him any good. Next image. Suppose you say, I'm a citizen of the Nation of Islam. Get your hands off me. Yeah, so see, I told you, see, they were shooting at the brother last night, maybe not last night, the night before. The same night they got Nicolas Maduro, they were trying to get him. See, then what would the headlines have looked like? We got two birds with one stone. Next image, please. He survived. And this is what I mentioned earlier. Trump announces a total blockade on Venezuela. Really? Well, how come they're still shipping oil to Iran, being protected by Russian submarines, if you got a total blockade? They've been telling that story that we've been chasing this oil tanker for 3 or 4 days. Well, how fast are your ships, your destroyers, and your warships compared to an oil tanker? You mean you haven't been able to run down an oil tanker in 3 or 4 days? No, because you don't tell the people about the submarine. You don't tell the people about the Russian submarine that's right there. That if you tried to make your move, they would put you on the bottom. So the oil is still flowing out of Venezuela to across the Atlantic to Iran or wherever it's supposed to go. And going across the Pacific, now you got the People's Liberation Army Navy. Their warships and submarines are escorting the oil to China. That's where China gets a lot of their oil. They've invested billions of dollars in Venezuela. Now this Yankee just gonna come in and take it? Next image, please. So again, they try to make it look good, like they did all of this. They didn't do anything but kidnap somebody. So this is what we've been warning about forever, that eventually the dollar is going to die, the Bretton Woods system is going to collapse. And so you've seen the evidence already. They don't have any gold. They don't have any silver. Nowhere to get none. And so a new financial system is born. And so since they don't have any real money, what must they do? They must either declare bankruptcy, which they will never do, just like they never will declare war anymore. They will never declare financial bankruptcy. You'll never hear about it. But what they will do is they will change the system. They will declare a bank holiday, and when the bank holiday is over, you will find that you have a new currency system, and it'll be digital. And there'll be no cash money allowed. That will be considered criminal. And all you will have is a digital bank account that is controlled by them. And if you want to buy something, you got to go through that system. It will be called the beast system. You know, call it 666 if you want. Next image, please. So there it is. See, this was the shortfall. J.P. Morgan, the pirate, surrenders. See, what they're saying is, see, if you look at the spot price of silver, I didn't look today. Last time I looked, it was like, maybe $79, $80 last week. But now what they're saying is if you had the true price out there, it would be somewhere around $412, 5 times what it is right now. Next image, please. So basically, J.P. Morgan and the other banks, they had people who showed up and said, give me my silver that you say you have. And J.P. Morgan came up short. They just didn't have it. In other words, they wrote on pieces of paper silver contracts that you are the possessor of 100 ounces of silver. And the person's walking around with a silver contract, a paper contract, thinking that they own something. Then when they went to cash in the contract, they found out J.P. Morgan didn't have that silver. They mad now. And so it's clear now, Venezuela is more than about arrest. It's about the oil, it's about the silver, it's about the gold, it's about the lithium. And it was a power move against Russia and China that has failed miserably. Plus, they didn't take over the country. The people are rallying in the streets. And the vice president didn't back down. The military didn't sell out. They say there were some sellouts, and they're hunting them down right now. Now, 40 of the security around Maduro were killed. 32 of them were Cubans, and they fought to the death to protect their man. But among them, there was someone who betrayed Maduro. Next image, please. See, European banks collapsing. Deutsche Bank, we announced that last night. All of the big banks that you've heard about in Europe, down through the ages. See, these are the banks that ripped off Africa. These are the banks that have been ripping off the whole world. Now they're collapsing. Next image, please. Because they don't have any gold. They don't have any silver. What comes out of Europe? Now, I told you that Trump has bombed Somalia in Africa over 100 times since he took office. Look what they're doing to the Somalis that live in Minnesota. They say there's over 80,000 Somalians that live in Minnesota. And of course, the one that's most well known is the Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. She's Somali. And so here's the president bombing her country, where most of her family still lives, where her people come from. And now bombing them in Minneapolis, rounding up Somalis, just like they're illegal migrants, kidnapping them, bombing their country, accusing them of fraud, saying that they've defrauded the government, that the reason why Uncle Sam is broke is because of the Somalis. Then they come out saying that they tested these Somali refugees or immigrants, and they claim that the average Somali immigrant in Minneapolis has an IQ less than 70. In other words, they tested all these people. They said these people have an IQ average about 71. They're morons. They're imbeciles. And they're defrauding the government. And something needs to be done about these morons from Somalia. So they're bombing them over there, and I guess in another sense, they're bombing them over here. Next image, please. What's wrong with being a Somali? Next image, please. So they're investigating. The FBI is investigating. The Justice Department is investigating, and they traced it back. It's not just the Somalis. It's the Kenyans, too. They traced it back to Barack Obama. They say Barack Obama, when he was president, he set the whole scheme up to defraud the government through the Somalis. He set up $1 billion betrayal. Obama's toxic legacy, the Minnesota fraud empire. He's almost as bad as Maduro. Maybe they need to go up to Martha's Vineyard and kidnap him and was she still there, Michelle? Next image, please. They blaming this on Obama. They say he set the whole thing up. They said that Obama set it up, to bring all these Somali immigrants into America and settle them in Minnesota because that's a swing state. And then because he was giving them favors and benefits, then they would all vote for the Democrats. And that proved to be true. And so they set up what they call deep state money laundering. When I first saw that, I said, oh, they must be talking about Ukraine. They must be talking about Israel. Deep state money laundering. No, they're talking about Minneapolis, Minnesota. Next image, please. I thought they were talking about something big. They say these Somalis have stolen $250 million in fraud. Well, what's that compared to Israel? What's that compared to Ukraine? $250 million. After all, you said they were sub IQ. You said they were morons. So they only robbed you out of $250 million? Well, if a moron can rob you out of $250 million, then what is your IQ? See, so this is how they say it works. You know, you fund foreign interests, you know, like you cause confusion, say in a country like Somalia, by bombing it day and night. Then the people in Somalia get all excited and they start to migrate. And then somehow, through your NGOs, now you fund the migration to make sure they all end up where you want them to end up. And then they can support you politically where you are. They say that's how that works. They say that's how Biden got, what was it? I might be wrong, something like 80,000. How many Venezuelans did Biden invite into the country? I mean, it's a big number. It's a real big number of Venezuelans that Biden got up here in the country. See, but with the same kind of scheme, where we invite you in, offer you benefits. You know, you get free food stamps, health care, everything, free housing. Just come on in, come on in, come on in. You know, and then they come on in by the millions, you know, and settle in on America. And then they turn on them, just like they turn on the Somalis. Well, they're getting ready to turn on the Venezuelans that Biden had invited in. So now what are the Somalis going to do in retaliation? What are the Venezuelans who are already here going to do in retaliation? And the other immigrant groups have been invited in. And now they're being double-crossed and betrayed. And they're being attacked by the very people who invited them in. Next image, please. The cost of submission. See, so this was all a part of the Obama legacy, they say. He's the cause of all of it. Wouldn't you know it? That when you get right down to it, the cause of the fall of America is a black man. He's responsible for everything that ever went wrong. Wouldn't you know that? Wouldn't you know that? That the only black president that we ever had, and he's responsible for the bankruptcy, he's responsible for the corruption, he's responsible for the money laundering, he's responsible for everything. Next image, please. So you know you got to blame it on somebody. So it must have been him. So we talked about this last night real briefly. There's a new flu bug going around. It's really bad. And this is just an update. This is the worst flu season in 25 years. And so if you're not ready for it, get ready. I'm sorry we don't have the Paximune, but do the best you can to protect yourself. Stay out of public places, big crowds, public transportation, anywhere, you know, where the air gets concentrated with sick people. There's a high percentage of people in any public space that are sick right now, where you work, where you live, you know, where you play. So I wouldn't be out there in the public too much. You're at the height of a very, very deadly flu season. Next image. And many people are immune deficient, so it's going to be worse than usual. Child flu deaths on the rise. Next image, please. Doctors talking about they've never seen so many dead children. We showed this last night too. People with insurance, with deadly diseases, are now finding out that the rug is being pulled out from under them, just like you're a Somali immigrant. This lady thought she had insurance, and she did. They just jacked the price up. She was paying $200 a month. Then next month is $1,725 for the same coverage that allowed her to get stage 4 cancer in the first place. So maybe she needs a new insurance plan. Maybe you need a new insurance plan. So check us out, Abundant Life Healthcare Plan. We're not going to jack the price up 700%. Next image, please. Oh, it's just a fraud, isn't it? Now, this is all about the 3-Eye Atlas. You can hardly see the comet there, but people are speculating, is this an alien invasion? You know, and Avi Loeb is at Harvard. He's saying the government, the CIA, is withholding information. They don't want to tell us what it really is. Next image, please. What do they know that we don't know? Well, how come the CIA knows everything and we don't know nothing? And we go ask them to tell us what's going on, and they say no. Next image, please. Yeah, so they're talking about the 3I Atlas, the third interstellar object discovered by the Atlas Observatory. So that's where they get the name from. Now, this was news. Now they have headphones that can read your thoughts. And they're introducing it like they usually do as just harmless fun, just for the gamers, just to up your game. I think they said by 43 milliseconds. Your reaction time goes up by 43 milliseconds. So that'll be the winning edge in any digital game, you know, but it also reads your thoughts. And so if they can read your thoughts to play a video game, they can read your thoughts to do anything. And so this is the brave new world. Next image, please. Now that's the Attorney General, despite her looks. Believe it or not, that is the Attorney General of the United States. Believe it or not, I'm not joking. That is the Attorney General. That is not a TV newscaster. That is not a fashion model. That is the Attorney General. And she tried to present evidence to justify the kidnapping of the Venezuelan president, and she was forced to admit that it was all made up, claiming that he was a drug cartel leader. When they looked at the evidence, they found out the drug cartel doesn't even exist, that he's supposed to be the drug lord of. And when they looked further, they found out the people really running the drugs in Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, and all of the world really is the CIA. Next image, please. So Pam Bondi had to back away from that. Is her name Bondi or Bambi? She looked like Bambi more than Bondi. See? They confirmed we after Greenland. It's a national security priority. We're going after everybody's territory. Now, don't forget his threats against Canada. He said he wants to take over Canada, make Canada the 51st state. Look how big America would be if they could get all of Greenland, all of Canada, connecting with Alaska. And then he's threatening Mexico, too. He told Mexico they better behave. We'll come get you. You might be next. Told Cuba, you might be next. Told Panama and Colombia, you might be next. This is the, what did he call it? He called the Monroe Doctrine the Donroe Doctrine. Next image, please. So now America's European allies, the members of NATO, they're saying, but Greenland belongs to a NATO country. You know, Greenland is a part of a NATO country. The Danish foreign minister says we're a NATO country. And under Article 5, if you attack us, Article 5 is that any attack against a NATO country means all the other NATO countries have to come to the defense of the NATO countries that's being attacked. So if America attacks Greenland, then France is duty-bound, treaty-bound to attack America. England would have to come to the defense of Greenland. Germany would have to come to the defense of Greenland and attack America. So you see the chaos. That's absolutely madness. You see what the title of this program is? A World Gone Crazy? These people are absolutely mad. Why are they mad? Why are they crazy? Why are they insane? Well, they've been driven mad by Satan, just like the Quran says. Those, he said in the Quran, it says, how can those stand on the day of resurrection except those who practice riba, that is, injustice? How can they stand on the day of resurrection except as those driven insane by Satan? So you're looking at people who have been driven insane by Satan because this is the day of resurrection, and they have been practicing riba, unjust practices, slavery, colonialism, all the rest of it, imperialism, domination, Nazism, Satanism, any evil that you can think of. They've been practicing that for 500 years. That's riba. And because of that practice, now Satan is being allowed to drive them insane to their own destruction. And so that's why Europe will end this year. That's why America may end this year. That's certainly why the US dollar will end this year. Will this be the end of you this year? And so it means that we really have to step back and look at these things and realize, hey, the world that we have known, hey, it doesn't exist anymore. And we have to look around and learn what the world is really like now and what it is that we need to do to survive. Is there another image, or was this the last one? I think it's another one. We're almost done. Maybe that was it. I don't know. Oh. Yeah, so this, this is a scene in Venezuela. They didn't do much damage in reality. And there's no sign that America is really in control of anything. They just went in there and kidnapped somebody with special forces, killed a few people, but they don't have control of the army. They don't have control of the economy. They don't have control of the government. They don't have control of the infrastructure. They don't have control of anything. They don't have any boots on the ground, and they're scared to put boots on the ground. So this is going to be just, my prediction is Trump is just going to declare victory, hold Nicolas Maduro Moro as a hostage, and demand a ransom. And I don't think they're going to get nothing except humiliated. Next image, please. So Venezuelans are standing strong. And one of the reasons why they're standing so strong is because they're all armed. Number one, the average Venezuelan has been given an AK-47 to defend themselves by the government. And they all have the Constitution. So they all know their constitutional rights. They know how the government is supposed to run. And so they're willing to fight to protect it. So here's an interesting article. Here's the damning email that confirms the CIA overthrew the US government in 2020. So now I posted this on my Telegram. It's a detailed article. And it actually is the communication between intelligence officials of the CIA and how they plotted to literally overthrow the government, and they did in 2020. So that's why, the Trump and the other government officials, they can say whatever they want. Then the CIA goes and does what they want. Because the CIA is actually running the government. It's actually been a governmental coup. The Americans act like their vote counts. Your vote doesn't count. You didn't vote for the CIA. But they make all of the decisions. And if a president or any politician tries to go against them, they just sabotage that politician. If it gets bad enough, they kill him. They killed John F. Kennedy even before they were in total control. And told a lie and got away with it all these years. And the American people tried to live with a lie and found out it was a lie, found out they couldn't do nothing about it. And before Donald Trump got in office the second time, didn't they clip his ear? Hey, that's a warning sign, boy. You do what we say. And he does. And it's not just the CIA alone. I mean, all of the intelligence agencies all over the world, the Israeli Mossad, the British MI6, the Pakistani ISI, the Turkish intelligence. Yeah, they claim that they represent their governments, that they work for their governments, but on a deeper level, no, that is the underground network, the deep state of global rulership and control. And they thrive on war and conflict and confusion. Next image, please. So the CIA basically feeds news stories to the Washington Post, the New York Times, and tells you what to think. Most of the anchors on CNN, former CIA agents. Many of the people running for Congress now, if you check their career, they used to be a CIA agent. Now they're a congressman from a certain district or a senator or a president. Wasn't George H.W. Bush the director of the CIA? Then he became president? Did that mean that the CIA was then president? You better think about these things. Why would Saudi Arabia attack the United Arab Emirates in Yemen? Because the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, they were actually building a military base for Israel. Now you think about that. The United Arab Emirates was building a military base in Yemen close to the Saudi border for the Israelis. And they were going to house 600 Israeli troops in this military base on the border of Saudi Arabia in Yemen. And when the Saudis found out about it, they bombed them. Next image, please. So you see, all of these people are double crossers of one another, the agents of one another. All of them were literally set up by the British about 100 years ago. Saudi Arabia was set up by John Philby, the British agent. He swore in Ibn Saud in 1931. And all the rest of these emirs of these different Arab emirates, they were all set up by the British. And they were all bowed to the British. And they still bow to the British. And so we were talking about the CIA, MI6. Well, who do you think engineers and tells these Arab Emirates and the Saudis what to do? They're being controlled by these intelligence agencies. Now, again, the world is changing. China just cut off the world supply of silver. But look what Africa's doing. Same thing. Oh, you need our resources? Okay, it's a whole new game. We will no longer accept your worthless dollars. We don't want your worthless paper euros. Europe, if you want Africa's resources, you have to pay us with gold or silver. Do you have any? So you see what happened? That's why Europe is shut down. They don't have any gold and silver. When did Europe ever have anything to pay anybody with? Never. They always had to steal what they had. And now they can't steal anymore. So they're broke and mad and cold and hungry and in the dark. Like they started out. As it was in the beginning, so shall be in the end. So South Africa and all the countries, you can't get our oil, our gold, our resources, our iron ore, our lithium, our tin, our bauxite. No, you got to pay for it. China said, we got gold. We can pay for it. Next image, please. Will you sell it to us? Africa says, sure. See, here it is. The UAE plans to build an Israeli base near Saudi Arabia. So the Israelis can attack Saudi Arabia to further the greater Israel plot. Think about that. Brother betraying brother. You would think they would be on the same side. Next image, please. Of course, the UAE is funding the terrorists that are tearing up the Sudan. We were talking about Somaliland. That's who's financing the thing in Somaliland for the Israelis. The UAE. The Boko Haram in Nigeria and all those places. Who's funding them? The UAE. Yeah, they're funding terrorism all over Africa. Spreading Wahhabi Islam, they say. If you don't believe like we do, we'll cut your head off. Oh, okay. This slide doesn't make much sense until we go to the next one. Go to the next one first. Yeah, the rise and fall of Zhang He. I can't say it the way the Chinese say it. Zhang He. The rise and fall of China's greatest explorer, Zheng He. Next image, please. Who was Zheng He? He was a 7-foot admiral of the Chinese Navy under the Ming Dynasty 500 years ago. See, when China had the biggest navy in the world, this man had a naval fleet of 317 ships. They called them treasure ships. Treasure ships. This man was 7 feet tall. Now, his Chinese name was Zheng He, but he was a Muslim, and his Muslim name was Shamsuddin. And you've heard about the 7 voyages of Sinbad. It wasn't really Sinbad, it was him. It was his 7 voyages that the people were talking about. Next image, please. Zheng He, the Muslim admiral of the Ming Dynasty, the 7 voyages of Zheng He. Next image, please. See, history is not what you have been told. Zheng He established trade routes to Africa. Why do you think those people that live in Zanzibar and Tanzania look Chinese? Because they are Chinese. Some of Zheng He's sailors stayed there when they established those ancient trade routes. Next image, please. So people want to know, what's China doing in Africa? China been in Africa for 500 years, trading with Africa. But then what happened, see, after Zheng He's time, see, the Chinese Ming emperor destroyed the Chinese Navy, burned it, burned the fleet, left the high seas open to the Europeans. But now they woke up. See, this is the modern Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy. And they have put a barrier stopping the U.S. completely out of the South China Sea. They got submarines all over the Pacific. That's how they're able to escort the Venezuelan oil safely to China, despite Trump's blockade. Because they got a Navy that's second to none, like they had 500 years ago. Next image, please. That's a little bit hard to read, but if you look at the lines there, these are the voyages of Zheng He. All the way out of China, through the Straits of Malacca, stopping along the way with these big treasure ships filled up with tea, filled up with silks, filled up with porcelain, all of the riches of China, big treasure ships. And they stopped all along the way in places that we now call Cambodia and Thailand and Burma and Vietnam and Indonesia and Sumatra and Malaysia. All of those were visited by Zheng He, spreading the Chinese culture, spreading Islam, making trade relations with people, leaving people behind. So that's why you go to Vietnam, there's always Chinese communities in these places because they were left there by the Chinese Admiral Zheng He. And he went as far as the east coast of Africa, Zanzibar, Tanzania, we call them now, Somalia, we call it now. He went all the way to Mecca. He was a Muslim. He made Hajj in Mecca. Next image, please. They don't tell you these things. They hide the history. When did this take place? 1421? Well, in 1421, Zheng He came to America. He came the other way, came across the Pacific, and landed in what they now call Chile and other places like that. Left Chinese inscriptions to show he was there. Next image, please. So Columbus came in 1491. Well, he was a little bit late. So there's the map there on the left. You can see where he touched base in South America and then ended up going through the Caribbean and up to the New England coast, up the east coast of America, and then back across the North Atlantic, you know, back into the Mediterranean and back home to China. Next image, please. That's Zheng He. So again, this is a better image of some of his voyages. It wasn't Sinbad. Next image, please. But even earlier than that, a voyage around the world in the 3rd century BC. A flotilla of ships set sail from Egypt around 232 BC during the reign of Ptolemy III on a mission to circumnavigate the globe. The 6 ships sailed under the direction of Captain Rata and Navigator Maui, a friend of the astronomer Eratosthenes, who was the head of the Alexandria Library. So did you ever wonder how the island of Maui was named? That was named after Captain Maui, the navigator. And some of the other places, the islands out there in the Pacific, they're named for these Egyptian explorers. Look at the date, 232 BC, before Christ. Next image, please. See, we don't know our own history. So this is the map of the voyages of Captain Rata and Captain Maui. That's where Tahiti came from, Maui came from, the name Hawaii came from. They landed on the shores of South America, North America. That's why you can find Egyptian hieroglyphs in the Grand Canyon. Go to the Grand Canyon and look at all the Egyptian artifacts and statues and even buildings that were made in the Grand Canyon that the American government holds off limits so you can't see it because you would ask questions. Who put that there? Captain Maui and them. Next image, please. We want to talk about Columbus. But the Chinese and the Egyptians weren't the only ones. This was the Mali fleet. This is from the Mali Empire. These are the Mali ships. Look at that. Look at those sails, man. You can tell that's Africa. They got that mud cloth for sails, I guess, coming across the Atlantic. Next image, please. This is Abu Bakr II, the emperor of Mali. This is the old Mali Empire. See, it's being reconstituted. They call this Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Chad, and different parts of Nigeria. But it's the old Mali Empire being reconstituted. They had a navy. They explored the world. They started colonies. They called Bahia in Brazil. Where do you think them people came from? Where do you think those black statues came from? From these people. Next image, please. Your people. Now, who's this? Toussaint Louverture. I thought it was Brother Salim when I first saw it, but that's Toussaint Louverture, the liberator of Haiti. And I included his pictures because I didn't want you to forget. What happened after Toussaint Louverture liberated Haiti? What happened to him? He got on board a French ship to sign a peace treaty and they kidnapped him. They kidnapped him. They took him to Paris, France, and held him as a prisoner. And I think they demanded a ransom for his release. And that's why Haiti had to pay reparations to France for all these years because they kidnapped Toussaint Louverture. Next image, please. I don't have all the details in that history. I'm not a historian. But there he is. That's Toussaint beside Napoleon. And Napoleon said, let's make a deal. Just get on my ship. Just get on my ship and we'll sign a peace treaty. And we'll grant independence to Haiti. And they kidnapped him. Next image, please. Here's a slave that beat Napoleon. These slides are a little bit out of order. That's Abu Bakr II. That sailed across the Atlantic for the Mali Empire, way ahead of Columbus. Next image, please. And I guess that's it. So next month, they say it's Black History Month. So maybe we'll go a little bit deeper into some of the historical details that we're only touching lightly, because this is not a history this is not a history program. We deal with geopolitics, and sometimes you delve in history to see what was, to understand what is, and what may be. But next month, maybe we should dedicate the whole month, or even start a Black History. What's wrong with having a Black History show that's dedicated 100% to Black history or to history in general, so we understand ourselves and others? But I think probably next month, since Carter G. Woodson established February as Black History, started out Black History Week, now it's a month. And of course, the interesting thing is, Carter G. Woodson wrote the book, The Miseducation of the Negro. It was published in 1933. Now, he lived right there on 9th Street, I guess that's Northwest. Yeah, 9th Street Northwest. Got a plaque on his house. It's right there close to Shiloh Baptist Church. And right across the street from the Carter G. Woodson house where he lived is where the Honorable Elijah Muhammad used to live in the 30s. Isn't that interesting? That the father of Black history lived right across the street from where the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was hiding out in the 30s. They had turned it into a beauty parlor where the messenger lived when I knew, last I knew. But right across the street from Carter G. Woodson, and here comes Carter G. Woodson talking about the miseducation of the Negro. Where did he get that idea from? I wonder. Probably from his good neighbor right across the street. So we'll talk about those kinds of things and more in the coming month to remind us of our own history that in many cases has been long forgotten. So this is me. This is all I have to say. So what time is it, Sister Amira? Do we have time for any questions or comments? It's a little...
We do have time, but I don't see any...
Okay.
An hour and 25 minutes.
Okay, well, we've been a little long anyhow, so we won't force the issue. Unless somebody has an urgent comment or question they want to get in. I think that will be it for us this evening. So thanks for being with us. Don't forget to push the share button. If you're with us on YouTube, also subscribe. I'm over 1,000 subscribers. Let's get it to 2,000 on our way to 10,000. So thanks for being with us. Don't miss prayer and fasting this coming Sunday and Monday with yours truly, Dr. Alim, and Chief Malgana Abdul Malik Muhammad and the prayer and fasting family. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Walaikum salam, brother. Salam, Dr. Lee.
Walaikum salam, Dr. Lee.
Wa alaikum salam. Oh, okay. I didn't. I guess my power died. Okay, so that does it for this evening's 19th element. Don't forget to push the share button and subscribe. Let everybody know.